Welcome to Caramoor Music Desk. I'm your host, Mike Goodkind, and this week we have our very own here at Caramoor, Yevgeniy Sharlat, joining us here on the show, and a great week is up ahead. You're composing a piece with the Amphion String Quartet, and let's start it out right now with a few questions. Good to have you on the show.
My pleasure, Mike.
Thanks so much for joining us. Who's your greatest influence in music?
It may sound trivial to many people, but to me it isn't. J.S. Bach.
And why is that?
Well, because I believe that he is probably the best architect and the best poet all in one.
Well, as a composer, who do you compare yourself to?
It's a hard question to answer because we obviously have models that are really the giants of music, and those are the examples that everybody tries to follow and emulate. If you're talking about influences, that changes. Today I feel like I'm influenced by X, and tomorrow I feel like I'm influenced by Y. And somebody in the newspaper says I'm influenced by Z, and I completely disagree with that. But so it's a difficult question to answer. I'm gonna just pass on that one.
Okay. When you came all the way from Russia, from Moscow, when you moved, when you were 16 years old, did your taste in music change at all?
It's interesting. It's an interesting question. I think that music taste changes no matter what. Probably going from one place to another doesn't have that much of an impact. Certainly didn't on me. While I was in America, my music taste changed drastically every 2 or 3 years or so. I think the biggest change occurred not when I moved from Moscow to America, but when I started teaching. I started accepting other influences more and more, because students would come to me and say, I'm emulating Radiohead here. And I would say, Radiohead? Okay, let's check this out. And you get the picture. So I'm more accepting of other kinds of music.
So you're not only classical or Bach or a specific composer, you like everything?
Classical music is what I do best, but I'm definitely open to everything.
Okay, and my big question here is, what do you like more, performing or composing?
Composing, obviously, but performing, I have a huge stage fright, and so performance is out of the question for me. Now, we see with composers, we also have something called anxiety and self-doubt, but at least that's invisible to many people. If you're on stage and you're going through a fit of stage fright, everybody notices.
So, okay, another big question here. Okay, was the Amphion String Quartet involved in composing your new piece, or was that all you?
Luckily, they were not involved at all.
Really?
Yes. Of course, that piece owes its life to Amphion, because they commissioned it. But as soon as they commissioned it, they completely stayed out of my way. They let me do whatever I wanted, and I thank them for that.
And how did Caramoor play a big part in commissioning?
They were the ones that commissioned. They funded the commission, and to which I'm really grateful. Mihai, the cellist of the Amphion Quartet, approached me with this idea of commissioning the string quartet, but we didn't have funding for it. And Caramoor came through with that and helped it. Made that possible, and so I really am thankful for that.
Now, how do you feel to be paired with a piece like Opus 132 by Beethoven?
Opus 132 by Beethoven is one of my favorite pieces, and I think one of the greatest quartets of all time. So yes, I feel honored, but at the same time, a bit at disadvantage.
Why is that?
Well, because once the audience experiences the Beethoven, they'll forget all about my little piece.
So do you think your piece can compare and keep with Opus 132?
No, it doesn't even come close.
Okay, well, Beethoven's musical genius, so you're up there.
Thanks.
Now, one big question for me is, how would you compare performing in a play, like an outdoor venue like Caramoor, to an indoor venue like the Metropolitan Museum of Art or something like that?
I've never had an outdoor performance. of a work of mine. So I can't really. This is going to be the first one. So we'll talk. We'll talk about that afterwards.
What are you expecting from this performance?
Well, here's what I'll tell you what I'm kind of worried about. The piece that I wrote is much of it is about things that aren't really said out loud. They're kind of whispered. They're half-spoken things. So for most of its duration, the quartet is very soft. Well, I'm told that the fountain here won't be working during the performance, but I don't know how it's going to work acoustically. Everybody will have to just really pay close attention to all the sounds.
So you're excited for the performance overall?
Absolutely.
And New York Times praised the Amphion String Quartet in 2011, reacting with gripping intensity, suspenseful and virtuoso playing. As a composer, does this boost your confidence that they are playing this piece, or does it add more pressure to the following concert?
Well, the Amphions are amazing. I had a rehearsal with them already back in New York City, and was blown away. They're very professional. They're a terrific group. I don't need New York Times to to support that for me. I know Mihai. We studied back at Yale. Actually, Katie, who is the first violinist of the quartet, I knew back from Curtis. To me, they're terrific musicians, but also as a quartet, they're wonderful. As far as whether that boosts my confidence, yes, there's just that means that the extent of what I can do in a piece like this is that much wider, because they are virtuoso players, and the music that I typically write is very, very hard to play.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, you're expecting a solid performance. And how is the Amphion String Quartet going to perform your piece?
I think nobody knows the answer to that question.
Right, not even you.
Me least of all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck, and thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Again, you're the best.
Thanks.
Coming all the way from Texas here to Caramoor on the 105.36. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Join me next week. Call the number to purchase tickets for the upcoming show on Friday. The number is 914-232-1252. The upcoming week, we have an exciting week. Karen Uzunian on the cello will be performing, then the Amphion String Quartet on Friday, then the Don Carlos by Giuseppe Verdi, and then the Emerson String Quartet on Sunday. Amphion should be able to compare with that. Hopefully, we'll see. But again, call to purchase tickets 914-232-1252, and come on down to the 105.36 to see this guy live. It's gonna be a great time. Thanks, Joseph.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.